So I want to say welcome and good morning. It's Jennifer Britton, and it is the 20th of August. This is sort of an added call. It was originally going to happen at the end of August, but I wanted to give people a little bit more of a leeway. So we're back together for our third August call of the Coaching Business Builder Workbook and Planner. If I haven't met you yet, again, my name is Jennifer Britton. I'm the author. This is my newest publication. This one is geared specifically for coaches who want to build their business. And what's interesting is there's been so much interest from other professionals that I will be doing some future editions, hopefully coming out later this year, to really support you in your planning and workbook. And there's Darcy as well. We've got Christina and Darcy. Just to alert both of you, I am recording our call today. So Darcy, feel free, if you want to just take your video off. Want to say welcome, and it's been really fun for me in the last couple of weeks to be bringing this book out into the world, but I should say it's really been fun in the last 6 months, especially in pulling this book together. So it is a workbook and a planner. If you haven't seen it, that's fine, because it just came out on August the 1st. About 280 pages. And the first part of it is actually a workbook, a tangible workbook where you grab pen to paper. It is an analog product, so I really want people to be working in it, engaging in it. And then the last half of it, as we're going to see today, is actually a planner. And it really comes out of my love of all things planning. In my former life, first 15 years of my career, I worked as a program manager and director. I often say that program management is like project management on steroids. And my typical week, or I would say my typical month, really involved a lot of project planning, getting things started, wrapping things up, evaluating things. And with so many balls in the air, I knew that if things weren't in my calendar, if they weren't planned, it wasn't just my impact, but it was the impact of the entire team that I worked with and the programs that I supported. So that really is sort of where this whole initiative comes from. I think many of you know me through group coaching, but planning has been a really big part of, helping me help others do their best work. So today is the third of a series of calls. If you're here for the first time, want to invite you to grab a pen and paper, take some notes. If you have your own Coaching Business Builder workbook and planner, I'm going to be taking you through that. If you haven't ordered a copy yet, you can go over to our website, coachingbusinessbuilder.com, or you can, of course, pick it up on Amazon. I hope that this is going to spark you to maybe dust out your business plan for the fall. We are a few weeks away from Labor Day, 2 weeks to be exact. So, well, I personally am I'm always it's a bittersweet time of year. Let's put it like that. I love summer. I'm back in Toronto for a few days, but heading back up north where I've been for the last 6 weeks. So thankful to have some reflective and renewal time. So today we're going to zoom into 5 of the 27 tools that are included in a Coaching Business Builder workbook. And if you haven't seen the new website, click on over to coachingbusinessbuilder.com. It'll give you the who, what, why, where, when, and how of the book. And really, as I've said for many years, daily steps, consistent action creates its own momentum in business. So today we're going to laser into what is really the planner section. So these are actually the 5 sections that make up the 280 pages of the Coaching Business Builder workbook. It starts off with business fundamentals. We then move into the solopreneur primer and some tips and tricks on marketing, getting you then to think about your ecosystem. But today we're going to zoom right into the planner. And really, I want to give you some value as you're going through this 30-minute call with me. I'd like you to actually think about what your plan is. And what you see here on the screen is an iteration of some of the many monthly planning sheets. I think having a lot of white space is critical in our work as business owners, whether we're a coach, whether we're a service-based professional. We do want to create some space for not just the margins, but like the dreaming. So what I'd like to invite you to do just as I'm talking is for you to think about what your intention is for this fall. And one thing that I've been doing this month, I've been kicking off a series of 45-minute virtual planning hacks. not all of us have a full day to plan, to do a business plan, but many of us do have a 45-minute period. And in the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing in a much more greater volume, I've been seeing how intentionality really helps people ground their plans. So as you think about your back to work and your fall program, what's your intention? And also, what is your vision? If you are a business owner, if you are a coach, what are the things that you really want to have happening this fall or by the end of the year? And I would invite you can even sketch it out. And this is why I've started with this one tool of just really, it's like a welcome sheet. It's a monthly planning sheet. Just, I want you to take some white space to be noting, like, who do you want to be working with this fall? What do you want to be doing? What are some of those core elements of your work that you want to be engaging with? And are there any projects in particular you want to work on? Why I add this last one is, what projects do you want to work on, is because I think for many of us, we have dreams of, oh, if only I had time to do this or that. And, certainly the Coaching Business Builder Workbook and Planner is a case in point. I've had this percolating for probably about 15 years since I started coaching business owners and coaches. And I really found that one of the greatest stumbling blocks is having a resource that people can go back to time and time again, not just once, but throughout the year. And that really led to the creation of this book. Now, as you know, I'm a practitioner. I don't have huge windows of time to be writing. And I'll do another call on the history of this book, but I'll say very, very briefly, really there was some creative charge that was created in March of this year, where I was getting a lot of requests for support and business development by coaches. And I thought, what could I be doing? So in my typical fashion, I know that I work best to deadline. And I knew that in April of 2018, there would be a Camp NaNoWriMo. And NaNoWriMo is an amazing organization that supports writing projects. And that was an opportunity for me to just put the stake in the ground to start pulling together years of materials that I'd created already. And that's really, that created the backbone of the Coaching Business Builder, or I should say the foundation of it, which over the next few months really became more and more of a work in progress. So if you're just joining us, and I know we have people joining us now, I've got just a quick question for all of you to be thinking about is, like, what's the back to work? What's the fall initiative you want to be putting some attention around? And I call this sort of like one of the meta view tools. In coaching, we always talk about that 30,000 foot view. It can be really useful to have some white space for our clients to work on it. And I thought it would be neat to share with you some of the planning I've been doing actually in my own business. So in the planner itself, you're going to see a monthly planning tool. This was one of the planning tools I created for my own business in August 2018. Now you can see I'm not the greatest of artists, but you'll notice across this page there's different colors, there's different boxes. In the planning hacks that I lead, which are these 45-minute virtual sessions for coaches, I take you through some structured activities to get you taking those ideas out of your head and putting them on paper. So in this few minutes that I've been sitting here on this slide, I hope that you've got at least a couple of ideas down. It might look a little bit more like this. This is one that I did last week as we did a fall planning hack, again, another Monday session. And there'll be more of these Monday sessions going into the fall. So just a little plug on that. Now, a second tool is all about tracking. And I'm curious, and you might want to insert this into chat, but how many of you actually track your results? And my guess is probably as much as I used to track my own results. And, I would have different scraps of paper, different notebooks going. And about a year ago, I started realizing I need to put this in one form. So I started working and creating my own, which you now see in this evolution, as a monthly daily tracker. And it was really influenced by a lot of handwritten ones that we see in the bullet journal world. As a business owner, I always want to be tracking different things. So this is, of course, just not a real set of examples, but as coaches yourself, you on a monthly basis may want to be tracking things according to the day and also the task. So some of the common things that I find coaches really want to track are things like sales, maybe calls that they've been doing. Are you getting out and doing some exercise? Are you spending time with content development or networking and building relationships? And are you also doing some of those tasks on social media, which may be part of your promotional or marketing strategy? So, in the course of any given day, whether we're working internally, externally, as a solopreneur, a one-person show, or as a part of a coaching team, we're doing a variety of things. And I think at a certain stage, and this could be early on or later on in your business, it can be very useful to start gathering some data. So the monthly daily tracker, if you have a copy of the Coaching Business Builder Workbook, this is a monthly tool. You get 12 copies of this so that every month you can start taking some notes on what's happening. Now, the one that you see here on the screen has some numbers around it, but I started one a few weeks ago at the beginning of August just to track my own things. And because I didn't even have a hard copy of my book, I started it on paper. And you're going to notice here I've used color, which looks a little bit different than what you see on the screen, to track some of my tasks. So big things in the month of August, which is my renewal month, I wanted to do a lot more on Instagram. And, I had to pull this out this morning because I moved back to the city on Thursday, Friday. But up until the 14th, I've been doing my Instagram every day. I'd also been swimming consistently, and that is one of my goals for the summer, to swim every day this summer. And I've been walking every day this summer. Here in the midpoint, I'm also tracking a couple of other things, not really like holding them hard, but I've wanted to really look at, like, what am I doing in terms of book launch activities? How about what revenue? When is it coming in during the month of August? When am I spending time on program development or design? And even at the stage of my business, I think it's already starting to give me some really interesting data for a month, not yet the year, but the month, in terms of how much time am I spending on tasks like blogging, on design work. Is it condensed time or is it not? So if you do have a copy of the Coaching Business Builder, definitely, I hope this is inspiration for you to start thinking about using these monthly daily trackers. You're going to find them deeply embedded in the book. You'll have 12 sets. So the nice thing about this workbook and planner is you can start it at any time. It's undated. So if you want to start in September, you can. If you want to start in December, you can. If you want to start in the month of February, it's going to be just something that is undated. So if you have questions for me, let me know in chat. I'm going to keep rolling with 3 more tools that I want to alert you to. And this next one is found in the content planning section. It's called the Monthly Content Journal, 1 line a day. And I know, at least looking at the names on the call, many of you are generating content, whether you're developing team programs, whether you're blogging, whether you're doing podcasting. I think content planning is a really big task for many of us in the coaching sphere. We don't necessarily coach on content, but our promotional strategies become very content driven. And so one thing that I think is unique, and I've never seen this in any of the other planners on the market, is I've included a content planning section. There's actually 7 different content tools to support you as a coach, as a business owner, even as a leader, to really be tracking and noting your content creation. So this is one of them. I call it 1 line a day because you can actually use this in a couple of different ways. Similar to the monthly tracker, this is a tool that you can use to capture reflections, capture ideas, or even capture content that you've created. I don't know about you, but I certainly see in my own work, I'm constantly creating things, and many times I forget exactly what I've created. So this can be used, if you choose, to be that content journal. What are you creating? What are you working on? I found as well, and again, these are tools that I've been using now myself for about the last year, but I found that as I started tracking my content, I also wanted to capture reflections. And I'm just going through some papers on my desk here to see if I can quickly grab one. But what I've even done this month is I have 2 different content journals. I have one to capture the stuff that I've been writing, creating. That's very practical and tactical for the business. But I've also used another one to really start capturing sort of my journal, my personal journal. And I think going back in years to come, I know my memory may fade, it will be nice to just look back and see, a record, especially a record of summer 2018, what that involved and what it existed every day. So if you're interested in something like that, do check out the content planning section. It, like the other planning tools, are found at the back of the book. So another one is, as you gear up for fall, like, what's your monthly focus? And on a monthly basis, you may be wanting to track things like your priorities, key successes you're having, also spending some time. And I would encourage you to, if you have the book, to use this month in focus, which is found in the monthly tools. But you could be using this on a monthly basis to really track enablers and derailers, things that are helping you and things that are hindering you. And while this may only take about 3 or 4 minutes at the end of a week, and for each one of us, that's probably different. I like to do this on a Monday morning when my brain is fresh, or on a Friday night. I usually do it pretty late on a Friday night, because I find if I try to do this on a weekend and I feel like this is extra work, and one of my commitments to myself is to take more time off and offline. So think about a time of the week when it's useful for you to do, as you see here, a weekly check-in. So why I choose Monday morning is because I can write down what are my key priorities for the week. And I always try to keep that at 3 to 5 priorities. I also can then, let's say this week, we're actually in week 3 of the month, I can then go back and say, okay, looking to last week, what were my key successes? There's space here to bullet that out. I can also, as I've done early this morning, I indicate the enablers, things that helped me last week, as well as the derailers. And derailers can be things like, for me this last week, it was like midweek, I came down to the city. So having some things, as best as I plan, some things are still up north, some things are here. And later this week, I'll be going back up north. So a derailer for me is always usually systems related, which is a nice flag, because you start seeing that in your business a number of times, you start realizing, you know what, this is a systems issue. There's something, or maybe there is something I need to put in place to help me access information or documentation that I need in multiple locations. So again, a fourth tool may be to building in some monthly planning time as you gear up for fall. And this is sort of a bit of a nudge, maybe you want to put something in your calendar. I know how quickly calendars fill. You might want to put something in on a weekly basis or even a monthly basis to use many of these tools. So before I I want to bring in some of your voices. I also want to just put you to a fifth tool or a fifth activity, which are these planning hacks. And these are going to be a budget friendly. I call them a budget friendly paid program. They're going to be, and I think the current rate is $25 for a 45 to 60 minute hack. But it's sort of a drop-in real-time working session that I'm hosting virtually. I've just done 2 in the last 2 weeks, and I have a month-end reflection and September planning session scheduled for the last working day of the month, which actually happens on August 31st. But these hacks are an opportunity for you to crack the spine of the book, because one thing I know as an author is some people get books and they don't want to dirty it up. There's a lot of debate with my team. Do we go with a white cover? Do we not go with a white cover? Because as an author, I was a little concerned, well, maybe people don't want to touch it because it'll get dirty. But I think already I found in the last few weeks, it's definitely robust enough in the way that it's formatted that you're not going to get too much dirt. But definitely I want you as an author to be like opening the covers and writing in it, working in it, jotting your thoughts down. And that's where, if you join me for a planning hack, you are strongly encouraged to bring your workbook and planner so that you can take stock real time on the focus, whether it is a month-end planning, month beginning planning, or whether it's a focus on, say, something like the quarter or different elements. I'll be doing a lot of different hacks throughout the fall, some related to content development, some related to planning, so you can choose that there. So those were 5 quick tools that I wanted to just share with you today. I've also will be posting this week, and it's now live over at my YouTube channel, but I did a quick video on 4 other areas you might want to think about as you step back into fall. And that's things like your habits. This is beyond planning, but, for yourself, what are the habits that are going to keep you moving and flowing and thriving in the next few months? Also in that same video, which is only about a minute and a half, it asks you to think about what are the things that are going to enable you. And I'm really always talking about these enablers and derailers because I think they can really sneak up on us in terms of what's helping and hindering. So I'd like to turn a question to all of you that are here on a call. We've got a handful of you. You're all business owners. And as you think about your business right now, tracking things, what is the one thing you want to track this fall? And I'll just invite you to turn to chat. I'm just intrigued from a personal level and a coaching level. Like, is there something you want to be tracking? I shared with you the monthly the monthly planner tracker. What would you put in your categories? Let us know. Is it exercise? Is it getting a project done? Turn to chat for a moment and let us know what area you want to track this fall. I can imagine fingers madly typing. What would you like to track this fall in your business? Couple of things I've been hearing a lot this month are things like, I want to track revenue. I want to track how many emails I'm getting. I want to track how much time I'm spending online. So for Darcy wants to track, and she does some great work around Lego Serious Play. She wants to track how many outreaches she's making on Lego Serious Play. And I think that's great because, again, our mind can play tricks, right? Like in marketing especially, and that's section 3 of the book. I think we think, oh, we're constantly talking about it. But one thing a tracker starts to help you notice is, how much am I actually doing? And one of the metrics I was tracking here is how many times was I actually on Facebook? As you can see, in the first 14 days of the month, it was only really 3 times. My brain sort of says, oh, I'm there all the time, but I'm really, really not. So tracking your elements can be really, really useful. We've got Christina who wants to track exercise and project milestones. And there's lots of space here to get as granular as you want. Again, the nice thing about a planner is it's yours. You get to customize it. You get to figure out who it is. And I'll be continuing to sort of bring to life through photographs and through live calls like this, sort of my own planning journey, because I think a lot of people get interested in like what's behind the covers. So with that, we've got a few minutes left. We've got about 5 minutes left. And I'm just curious if any of you have any questions for me. I'm going to take you through a few other slides here, just more informational, but like, are there any burning questions you have about planning? Or are there any resources you're looking for? Because as I've been running the hacks in the last couple of weeks, and again, those are the $25 paid program. They're most of the time in the fall going to be happening on a Monday. Some may have a monthly focus, others may have a quarterly focus depending on when they happen. What I've been finding in those hacks is I leave a little bit of time at the start and the end. And I've been getting some great questions like, what is the best time of the day to be planning? And I think that's where we want to really look at our own circadian rhythm. What is the time of day that works best for us? For me, I'm an early bird. I know that that's why I plan on a Monday morning, because my brain is fresh. I'm ready to go. If I try to do that late at night, I'm just dragging the anchors, I'd say. And another question that I've been getting too is like, why analog? Like, why a hard copy planner versus a digital one? And I've opted with this resource to just go with a hard copy cover. And for now, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to keep it like this, because I really do. I see one of the challenges for a lot of coaches right now, twofold, is just the amount of time online. And this is really geared as a resource that you can pick up, put everything in it. You can also, and I'm encouraging people to send me photos of how you're using it. I'm imagining some of you may be adding sticky notes and other things to this, but it's a robust enough tool that you can pull it off the bookshelf and have it in one spot versus have it in multiple files. So for those that are visual learners, you may find that this is a great resource. For those that maybe aren't visual, maybe that's where actually an analog planner is not as useful. So Darcy has also commented way more stickiness when you write versus typing online. And absolutely, this is what brain neuro research is continuing to see, is that, you know, our brains have really not made that jump to digitization, right? We're not retaining the information. We're not engaging with the information that we type in the same way as we do when we write. And I know for many of you, on not only on this call today, but in my community, many of you are very visual people. So this is where, going back to my own planning sheet, you know, one of the things I'm trying to even push for myself is like using a lot more graphics, using icons, coming up with those myself, because an icon can capture something in a way that is very different. So, you know, why I put this is supposed to represent the cottage. You know, one of my business visions way back when in 2003, before I even made the shift to being an entrepreneur, I really felt strongly that if I was to return back to work out of Canada, return back to North America, because I wasn't living in this part of the world, that it was going to be really important for me to carve out time in the summer, be able to work up north from the cottage. And while that didn't happen, I like to say it didn't happen in the first year or two of my business. While we were up there for short blocks, it took a couple of years to really redesign my schedule and be very specific in looking at like revenue streams. How could I afford? Now it becomes, how can I not afford to be working out of the cottage, where things are quieter, I can focus, I can be a lot more creative. And that's really important for many of the revenue streams for my business, not just the actual coaching work, but my writing time, product creation time, program design time, which actually are the engines that run my business with Potentials Realized. So really think about, you know, what's going to support you as you move through the fall. Again, I think for $30, it's $29.99. And for those of you that are Canadian, I do have Canadian pricing over at coachingbusinessbuilder.com. As an author, I will absorb the cost. I think it's really important to be able to offer it to all of you in Canadian dollars. And you can order direct from me, have it signed through coachingbusinessbuilder.com, or you can go to Amazon and they will ship you a copy. So if you're on Instagram, it's been sort of fun. I've been starting to get a trickle of people sending me photographs of their planners arriving. And with their permission, I've been posting and sharing those on Instagram. If you are so inclined, please feel free to tag this book. So it's the hashtag is Coaching Biz Builder, Coaching Biz Planner, and Coaching Business Builder. And I'll include that in the tab here. So I think there's one more question or comment. Looks great. Thank you for this. Thank you all for joining me. Again, there are more calls scheduled, and you'll find the download. Trying to stick to these, but already today's call was supposed to be August 30th. I moved it earlier. September, we've got 2 calls planned. One is Thursday, September 6th, currently scheduled for 12 noon, but that may change a little bit. Business habits and mindsets for back to work and back to school. That's Thursday, September 6th. Feel free to drop in, and I'll be doing more of a let's talk about habits and mindsets on that call. And that's part of actually the ecosystem chapter in the book. September 17th, Monday, September 17th at 11 a.m. the same time is going to be Content Creation 101 for coaches. So do be sure to download this. This is not a colored copy, but I will be, they are colored online, and hope that you'll join me for that. So with that, thanks, and I look forward to hearing how you use the materials. Take care, everyone. Have a great Monday and a great end of summer. See you. Bye-bye.